Hello, BookTube. It's me, your yellow-shirted correspondent. We'll just make every video in a bright yellow shirt. I have more mail. It's not many packages, but it ends in a box, and the box is so big it might have a human body in it. So let's start with this one. The box is so big that it has to be multiple books. As I've said on this channel before, there's no way that a book this big, a single book this big, could be coming out of me not know about it. Oh goodness gracious, oh my. This is the finished copy of Live from Cairo by Ian Bessingthwaighte. I joked just yesterday that he has the most British sounding name in the world. But there's no picture of him. I was kind of hoping that the finished copy would have a picture of him, but it does not. I can't remember when I got the advanced copy of this. I can't remember if I read his biography. So let's read about Gussie Fink-Nottle. Let's see what we can find here. He was a Fulbright grantee in Egypt in 2009, where he worked in a legal aid office that served refugees from Iraq, Sudan, and the Horn of Africa. He has been honored with Hopwood Awards for both novel writing and short fiction. Are they giving out Hopwood Awards with cereal? His work has appeared in Esquire, National Geographic, the Chicago Tribune, The Sun, Tin House, and The Rumpus, on what you can presume was an off day. And this is Cairo, 2011. President Mubarak has just been ousted from power. The oldest city in the world is reeling from political revolution. And somewhere out there in the distance, Aleppo says, "You bet we are." Its consequent hopes and fears, its violent triumphs and defeats. And for the people actually living there, daily life has become wilder, more dangerous, and occasionally freeing. Live from Cairo is an exuberant, dazzling novel about these people. And then it lists all the people in this made-up story. It's a vibrant portrait of a city in all its teeming chaos and glory, and an urgent exploration of one of the most vital issues of our time. Live from Cairo is an exhilarating, electrifying debut and a stunning testament to the unconquerable desire of people to rise above tragedy, to seek love, friendship, humor, and joy. And I confess I did not read the advanced copy that I got, and one of the main reasons was shamefacedly superficial, but we're between friends here, and that's the hideous cover. I saw the chaotic, ugly graffiti, and I thought, nah. But clearly, I love debut fiction, and I have horrific memories of Cairo myself. Every time I went there, just worse than the time before that. And one of the times, years and years and years ago, long before most of you were born, I was in a wonderfully atmospheric old hotel, but it just had no amenities whatsoever. And I was there in summer, and it was just there was actually a ceiling fan, and I asked my landlord if it worked because it wasn't moving, and he said to me, "Trust me, it only makes the heat worse." So I don't know how much of the atmosphere of Cairo, it won't be the same Cairo, it'll be a completely different city than the one that I knew. But I don't know how much is captured in here. I will read Gussie Fink-Nottle's book right away and find out. And we'll move on to the next one here. This is oh, very good. Oh, excellent. Okay, this is by Dylan Jones. This is David Bowie. I was hoping I would get this. This is an oral history of Bowie's life. So it's not the book that will come. The book that will come in a year or 2 years. The big 1,000-page biography. It's not that. Instead, it's the voices of the people who knew him in all the stages of his life, remembering, recalling, that sort of thing. And those can often be very gripping. They can be a little bit tedious because not everybody's as good a storyteller as everybody else. But I've often found them to be a fantastic counterpoint. And don't I wish we had them going back to the beginning of time? Wouldn't it be great if we had an oral history of Augustus Caesar, in addition to his own book, and in addition to histories about him, so that you can sift through the impressions yourself that's one of the things that I like. I read an oral history of the Beatles, for instance, and one of the things that I like about reading oral histories is that you read through them, and different things will ping, and you never know. You can never predict what it will be, and it's not the things that the people themselves are stressing. So you'll read 2 chapters, and you'll finish them, and all the people in the interviews will be stressing what a great person so and so was, and you will think back and think, they didn't coordinate what they were going to say with each other, and a couple of details kept coming up. And if you have a mind, if you have the kind of mind who will notice those things, then you will start to think, so this guy always stiffed his friends for cab fare? Stuff like that won't make it into a biography, and but that does come out in an oral history where you'll look at that and you'll think, so she routinely overtipped for restaurant meals. Here's 5 different people who ate with her at 5 different points in her life, none of whom know each other, and they all point that, they all say that, so it has to be true. It's interesting. All right, so good, excellent. Read this, and then I have a recipient in mind who will go absolutely gaga over it. And then we get to the box. This enormously heavy, huge box that if it has something other than books in it, I'm gonna cry because I want it to have books in it. Let's see what this is. It's got to be multiple books. Have we here? Oh, it is multiple books. Oh my, it's a box full of books. Oh, what fun. Oh, and this is Bloomsbury's doing a series of little nonfiction books called Object Lessons. I got a few of these, but this must be the whole thing, where they get a writer to write about 100 pages, maybe a little less, on something, large or small. There's one on whale songs, for instance. There's another one on shopping malls, and there's one on socks. And it looks like this is the whole thing. Fantastic. So we have Meredith. I'll show you all of them, just because you don't know that you'll see them in bookstores, but a lot of them look genuinely interesting. So we have Meredith Castile on driver's license, and each one they have that minimalist title. They don't have titles. The title is just the thing they're about. Let's go through, since we don't have pants on and we have nothing better to do. All right, so this one is actually longer than most. Most of them are, this one is actually kind of big. And this is Traffic by Paul Josephson. The neat thing is that whoever packaged this put them all face down. So it actually is kind of exciting to go through them here. The next one is Hair by Scott Lowe. Just a dissertation on hair, what it is to us. The next one is by Evan Kinley. It's Questionnaire. Questionnaires are everywhere. We fill them out at doctors' offices and at job interviews to express ourselves and to advance knowledge, to find love and to kill time. But where do they come from? And why have they proliferated? Yes, I think I'm really going to like this series. I haven't delved into even the whale song one, which is right up my alley. Here's another long one. Oh boy. Drone. This is by Adam Rothstein, and it's called Drone. Drones are in the newspaper and on the TV screens, swarming through the networks, and soon, we're told, they'll be delivering our shipping. And they will also, unless I'm very much mistaken, be the focus of the next very big catastrophe on American soil. Because it's not just that you think, well, no one can fly a drone over the United States, but they don't have to. There are drones flying all over the place in the United States now that can be hacked. They're all networked. They're all smart connected. And if, I hate to put it out there as a hypothetical, but if I can put it out as a hypothetical in 2017 on a BookTube channel, I guarantee you that very bad people have tabled it as a working hypothetical somewhere in Damascus in 2015 at length. And that is, if you have 100 drones, each carrying a blob of plastique, of explosives, and you converge them all on the south portico of the White House, you'll destroy the building. You'll flatten the building. Right now, in Washington, D.C., in the intense zone of protection around the White House itself, there is no defense against such a thing at all. There's missile defense. There's air defense. There are planes at Anacostia Naval Base and whatnot that can take off at a moment's notice. And there's artillery mounted in various enclaves on the roof of the White House and the executive building. But 100 drones, each with a different radio operator, coming from a different location but coordinating with each other by untraceable, disposable cell phones, all designed to coordinate an attack at one moment at 9:15 in the morning on a Monday on the White House. The White House has no defense against that, and there would be no White House left. 100 drones, each with a blob of gelignite, would be enough to level the building. And all of them can be hacked. The perpetrators don't need to do anything. In fact, you wouldn't even need the explosives. All you would need is the drones. You could still wreak an enormous amount of havoc. And if you didn't actually need to load explosives onto the thing, then you could do 1,000 of them. There are 1,000 drones within a 200-mile radius of Bethesda, Maryland. You can go on YouTube and see the footage of the young dudes who are operating them and have cameras on them. And they're operating them by remote control. And anything that can be remote controlled can be remote controlled. It's a terrifying subject. I mean, I wrote a review of a book and I did a huge amount of research on President Obama's use of drones. And the horrifying legacy that they have wrought all over the world. So that you have kids who have no experience of life other than one entirely ruled by drones. And they are growing up different from you and me. They're afraid of the sky. They're afraid of the sky. If it's a clear day, they view that as bad weather. Because it means they and their family could die by accident on the road, at a wedding, at a shopping mall. No apology, no legal repercussions, no nothing at all. Just a mistake. Sorry, we thought you were somebody else. And you're all dead now. So when it's a clear day, when the drones can operate, they hate that. Little kids in schools, all over the world, all over Africa, all over Central Asia, all over the Middle East. This will be difficult reading to do. I will do it, but it will be difficult reading. Next one is, we go from serious to silly. This is Jonathan Rhys, Refrigerator. There's a light shining in the darkness. It reminds me of that New Yorker cartoon where the guy's in his bedroom at night, and there's a light from the refrigerator shining across the apartment and into his bedroom. And the caption is, "Ask not for whom the midnight refrigerator tolls. It tolls for thee." So this will be a history of them and their advertising and their technology. Fantastic. Okay, great. Martin Paul Eves. This next one is password. Look at that. You've got the dots with the line. Someone typing in a password. What does it mean? How have they evolved? How are they misused? Okay, so the next one is Jack Pendarvis. This is Cigarette Lighter. A hymn of praise to how we give ourselves throat cancer. It's the coolest thing. How is it? The sound of it, the smell of it, the way you do it. Let's practice in front of a mirror to get it exactly right. The next one is by Scott Cutler Shershow, and it's bread. Simple as that. Just a meditation on bread. Though, looking at these things and seeing, no dust jacket. What have we got here? He's a professor of English at the University of California, Davis. And he wrote a book called Deconstructing Dignity, a critique of the right to die debate. So not connected with bread. And it makes me wonder, how is Bloomsbury finding these people? And, are they going to Bloomsbury and saying, I have a lot of thoughts about refrigerators? I don't know. I have no idea. Let's see here. Okay. The next one is also very ominous. If it's not drones, it will be this, and it could be both. This is Craig Martin's shipping container. And it also, the more you know about it, is absolutely terrifying. You won't sleep soundly again the more you know about shipping containers all over the world. Thousands and thousands, tens of thousands of these shipping containers in motion or in dock everywhere in the world, unexamined. Port authorities can only scan, if they have the technology to scan them at all, which most of them don't. But if they have the technology to scan at all, they can only do a random sampling, 1 in 100. Like a border check, like a traffic stop. And if one of these things one that wasn't scanned, or that maybe had a fake foil to scan to trick the scanning equipment. If one of them had a dirty nuclear bomb inside it and was sitting in a port in Philadelphia, all life would change. Imagine if they were coordinated. Imagine if there was one in a port in Philadelphia and two in ports in France and England, all designed to go off at the same time. Anyway, let's. Oh my! Oh goodness gracious! All right. Well, I gotta credit Bloomsbury for going after problematic subjects. This is by Alison Kinney, and it's Hood. Simple as that. The hoodie. Very modern significance, but you can't wait to read it. Oh my! This is John Bignett. This is silence. What aspect of silence is this? What is silence? In a series of short meditations, novelist and playwright John Bignett considers silence as a servant of power, as a lie, as a punishment, and as the voice of God, as the terrorist's final weapon, and as a luxury good. Oh, as I tell you, these things sound so good. We still have a lot to go, so just to settle in here. Matthew Battles, Tree. I have a recipient for this one. This will be all about, there was a fascinating book last year about the secret lives of trees and how they communicate with each other and feel things and help each other. The review, there was a glowing review in the TLS, the writer saying, they talk to each other, they have emotions, oh my God. And then in the letters page the next week, a scientist wrote it, just threw a bucket of cold water on the whole thing. Explaining why, another explanation for all of these things that doesn't involve semi-sentience. Then we've got John Garrison, Glass. We've got Michael Martyr, this is Dust. Aren't these pretty too? Actually, who does the... This cover design is by Alice Marwick. I wonder if she does them all. Yeah, she does. She does. There's extremely distinctive covers for all of them. She must have got the commission for all of them. What a happy day that must have been for her. Hi, we're Bloomsbury. We've got a 50-book series. We'd like you to design the covers. Wow. So this next one is Phone Booth by Ariana Kelly. My muscular teenagers have never seen one in the wild. Never seen a phone booth. They've seen them in movies, and they still exist in video games. But of course, they're never going to see one again. And they didn't know, and found it hilarious and hilariously strange when I told them that for years and years and years, for decades, comic book fans were told that Clark Kent changes his costume into Superman in a phone booth. They were just, dude, it's glass. Everybody would be able to see what he was doing, and how would he have the room to change? And I had to tell them the phone booth that was originally pictured was wood on all sides, and it was big. It was the size of Doctor Who's TARDIS, and roughly the same appearance. You had privacy when you were inside it, in other words. I showed them the classic sequence in the Christopher Reeve Superman movie, where he sees Lois Lane about to die at the roof of the Daily Planet building, and he runs off to find a phone booth. But it's the new kind of, it's a pylon with a couple of privacy barriers on either side, but it's not a booth at all. And Christopher Reeve looks it up and down and says, what on earth? How am I supposed to do there? He changes in a revolving door. Don't get me started. It's even worse. And then Joanna Walsh on Hotel. What hotels mean, their history. Caitlin Benson Allock on Remote Control. There's the old style Remote Control. It's Harry Brown on Golf Ball. How can you do a whole book on golf balls? Nicole Walker on Egg. And believe it or not, the last one. This is, oh wow, I saved the best for last. Look at that. This is Jeffrey Jerome Cohen and Linda Elkins Tanton. Earth. In one book. In Earth, a planetary scientist and a literary humanist explore what happens when we think of the Earth as an object viewable from space. As a blue marble, a pale blue dot, as Chaucer described it, this little spot of earth. Solitary orb is a challenge to the scale of human self-importance. I'll try to remember to leave a link down below to Carl Sagan's there are YouTube clips of his great short speech about the pale blue dot. Every human being should hear that speech, and I'm not sure all of you have, so I will leave a link if I can remember to do that. So that is it, and then the mother of all packing lists. Oh Lord! All right, so there you go. Wow, fantastic. All right, so I'm not gonna do all of these individually for our stereotypical pile up here, but I will do them as a kind of, if I can do the aesthetics here, because this is rather nice, and none of these are in the small batch that I already got, so I think I have them all now. Look at that. Object lessons from Bloomsbury. You know what you ought to do? Go to Bloomsbury, or find them on Twitter. Find them on Twitter and applaud the series, because let them know how much fun it is. And maybe go to their website and pick the one you most want and order it from them, so that it doesn't die. I'd like this to continue. And then we've got, let's see here, David Bowie, A Life. This is an oral history of David Bowie. And then Live from Cairo by Gussie Finknottle, a debut novel about Cairo. Wow. All right, so there you go. That was a bigger mail haul than I thought it would be for only 3 packages, because I got a box with an entire shipment in it. So that'll be it for now, and I'll see you in a yellow shirt next time. Thank you, Book 2.